Hello students, today we shall start with our next chapter, that is memory management. In this chapter we will see the first point, that is logical and physical address map. Now what is a logical address? In this we are going to deal with the memory. You already know that address uniquely identifies a location in the memory. That is, every memory location has a specific address that is known as the memory address. So when we are executing a program, two types of addresses are generated, logical address and physical address. Now we shall see what is a logical address. Logical address is generated by CPU while program is running. So when a program is executing, the central processing unit will generate a logical address. The logical address is virtual address as it does not exist physically. Therefore, it is also known as virtual address. Okay, this address is imaginary. It is not physically present on the memory. That is why it is known as virtual address. This address is used as a reference to access the physical memory. This particular logical address will then get converted into a physical address which is then accessed. The address is used as reference to access the physical memory location by the CPU. The term logical address space is used for the set of all logical addresses generated by a program's perspective. So all the logical addresses which will be generated by the CPU when a program is executed, that totally will be known as the set of logical addresses. Next we shall see what is physical address. Physical address identifies a physical location of required data in memory. Okay, this address will be actually available in the memory. The user program generates the logical address and thinks that the program is running. The user never directly deals with the physical address but can access its corresponding logical address. Therefore, the user program generates the logical address and thinks that the program is running in this logical address, but the program needs physical memory for its execution. Therefore, the logical address must be mapped to the physical address by the memory management unit before they are used. So the CPU will generate the logical address, but actually the instructions will be executed in the physically actually present memory. So we need to convert the logical address to physical address. This is known as mapping and it is done by the memory management unit. The term physical address is used for all physical addresses corresponding to the logical addresses in the logical address space. Okay, so all the physical addresses together will be known as a set of physical addresses, and every one logical address will have one physical address because we are going to map it to the actual physical address. Now we shall see what is the difference between logical and physical address in operating system. The first point is the basic difference between logical and physical address is that logical address is generated by the CPU in perspective of a program. I have already discussed that the logical address is generated by the CPU when the program is executed, whereas the physical address is a location that exists in the memory unit. So the actual instruction or the actual data which is stored in the RAM is the physical address. The second point of difference is logical address space is the set of all logical addresses generated by the CPU for the program. Okay, so when a program is to be executed, when it goes into the RAM, the CPU will convert all the instructions into some logical address space, whereas the set of all physical address mapped to the corresponding logical addresses is called the physical address space. So this logical address will then be mapped to the or converted to the actual physical addresses, and it is known as the physical address space. So the set of all logical addresses generated by the CPU, that is a logical address space, will get converted or will get mapped physically to the physical address space or the set of physical address given by the computer. Next, the logical address does not exist physically in the memory. So logical address is imaginary, so it does not physically exist, whereas physical address is a location in the memory that can be accessed physically. So the physical address will be stored in the different registers on the motherboard when the CPU will execute a program. Logical address is just imaginary and it will not be stored in any registers. And the last point of difference, the logical address is generated by the CPU while the program is running, whereas the physical address is computed by the memory management unit. So the most important point is that the logical address or the virtual address is generated by the CPU, whereas the physical address is mapped or converted in by the memory management unit. Thank you.